Well, welcome to the 2020 Landwards Conference of the Institution of Agricultural Engineers. I'm your host, Andy Newbold, editor of Landwards, the institution's membership magazine, and I am joined today by the institution's current president, Mr. Paul Hemingway. Welcome, Paul. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Andy.
And we're just going to have a little bit of an introduction to what is on offer with the conference today. So, in principle, as you know, we have a virtual conference with pre-recorded presentations from 5 separate speakers, which will be trickled out over the next month or two and culminating with a live panel discussion with all the speakers on the 4th of November. So really, today is an advert or a precursor and a conversation between Paul and myself regarding what we can look forward to in the conference. So, Paul, tell us a little bit more about the theme of the conference and why you feel it's important.
Well, the conference this year, the theme we've chosen is lean and its impact on the agricultural and engineering industry. This was chosen, in fact, before COVID and all the difficulties of the last few months had started. But obviously, back in the very early part of the year, we did realize that Brexit was going to be happening at the end of the year. And without question, one of the impacts of Brexit is that it will impact on the agricultural industry in the first place, in that the current CAP scheme for reimbursing or supporting farmers will change. The likelihood is that payments to farmers will reduce. And if they're going to reduce, then their demand for the equipment, machinery, which we're supplying through the ag engineering business, of course, will have to reflect that. And with that in mind, then, it really does place high emphasis on the ag engineering industry as a whole to focus on the efficiency of its operation. Lean as a process has been around for 30, 40 years in manufacturing, and for many companies will be part and parcel of what they do. It is really about trying to strip out from the manufacturing process, from the purchasing process, from the supply process, anything which does not actually add value as far as the customer is concerned. And value is, put simply, what he is prepared to pay for. If he's not prepared to pay a bit more for that particular thing that you're doing, you probably shouldn't be doing it unless you've absolutely got to. So what we've done then is to take a series of speakers from across our industry, from the manufacturing sector, from the supply sector to the farmers. We're also going to talk to a farmer himself, in this case, John Shropshire, who has a significant business which is built up over now 3 generations, farming not only in this country, but in mainland Europe, and I think in Mallorca as well. Producing fresh veg for the country. So from literally tractor production through to the farm gate, where we're going to be looking at how we can improve the efficiency of what we do.
It is a novel format with pre-recorded speakers and a live panel discussion. Why did the IAgrE settle on this?
I think, in line with very many other organizations, we've had to take stock of where we are, what we can actually do physically. And I think that the decision was made quite early on that the practicality of running a physical conference, typically late in the year, October, November, was going to be very high risk. And quite frankly, the further we go on towards that date, it's not looking too much better from where we sit today. Clearly, going into a virtual format has some other advantages as well. Because what it means is we can break the event up into bite-sized chunks so that members or other people that want to look at what we're saying, look at the content from the speakers, is able to do that either directly when it's happening or at any time to suit themselves, and wherever they are, frankly, and whatever their other time commitment is. There aren't too many people who, if they want to spend an hour listening to somebody, or 3/4 of an hour, whatever it is, they can't find that time sometime during the week. So I think, radical as it is, I think it's going to become, and has become, very commonplace this year to go into this sort of format, But as I say, the anticipation is that we will be able to reach out to a higher percentage of our membership than typically our conferences attract, perhaps 100, 150 delegates. We should be able to get more delegates actually engaged in this event this year using this medium.
And it is, it is a needs must situation for now, albeit something which is embedding and becoming normal for us all.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. It's part and parcel of life as we know it, and I hate to say it, but the new normal.
Yes, indeed, to coin a phrase.
The kind of phrase, yeah.
Given the time we find ourselves in and how the world has changed since we started planning the conference, how do you feel the themes evolved?
I think the theme is absolutely right, and it's absolutely on point for the message of today. And when you look at what other people are doing in this industry, there's no question that the UK government today has got high focus. I think one thing that COVID did was to focus everybody's minds on the need to put food on the plates of the country. And you don't need more than a few days of food shortages for people to get quite agitated and to start panic buying and all this sort of thing. So I think one of the things that this COVID thing has done is to make people really focus on food supply. Hopefully that will drive improved supply from UK farmers and growers. And with that, of course, we will be there with equipment behind them to support their production.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Moving on to the programme, give us a flavour of what we can look forward to from the speakers.
Well, as I said, we've got Martin Hamer from Fendt, obviously part of the AGCO group, a major machine manufacturer. Martin is sales manager for the UK, Northern Ireland, I think the Netherlands as well. So very experienced manufacturer's representative, talking about how, as a manufacturer, Fendt are coping with the demand challenges of the current situation. Moving on, Rich Halsell from Ripon Farm Services, a major John Deere dealership, will be talking about the dealer, so the point of sale challenges and what they're doing to ensure that they are able to provide equipment to farmers in a timely manner, but in a cost-effective manner as well, without encompassing excessive overhead. As I said earlier, John Shropshire from Gees will be talking about really how they manage to deliver very perishable produce very often in what has to be a very time-efficient manner. I mean, the nature of his product and what they're growing at Gees demands that they have to absolutely have a very, very smooth, very efficient organization to get those products onto supermarket shelves or to other customers exactly when they want to do it. We've got Cooper as well, who's an independent safety engineer. He will have a different slant on things and really look at business resilience and preparedness. And fundamentally, it's about change, isn't it? And people, change is never easy in any organization, whether it's large or whether it's small. And the reality is that businesses are going to have to change the way in which they do things. Now, I'm casting a very broad brush here because clearly the range of activity that we have across our manufacturers, across our distribution network, and eventually to the farmers themselves, the range is huge in terms of the scale of the organizations, the efficiency organizations, the technology they use. But what's for sure is that everybody is going to have to really look at the way they operate, the efficiency that they're able to derive in their businesses. Because frankly, those that are less than optimally efficient could well not survive. I think you don't want to be too dramatic, but I mean, that is the nature. The future belongs to the progressive companies without any shadow of a doubt. Lastly, we've got Simon Pearson from Lincoln University, who will be talking about some of the work that he and his team are doing, looking at robotic harvesting, particularly of soft fruit. One of the impacts of Brexit clearly for our industry is that, and particularly for the agricultural, for the farmers themselves, is that access to large numbers of Eastern European, generally Eastern European workers for harvesting or establishment and harvesting of crops going forward from next year is going to be much, much more difficult. So all those growers involved in fruit and veg production are looking hard at how those sides, or that side of the industry, can be automated. Now, clearly they can't do that without access to an awful lot of engineering, an awful lot of technology, and ultimately their manufacturing to produce the harvesters or the planters or whatever they are, to enable people to work in a new way. So it's going to be fascinating to hear what Simon's got to hear as well.
Let's think about the delegates now. What do you think the delegates taking part in the conference program can glean from this?
Look, I think, as I said, the involvement in engineering companies in lean will be very varied across our industry. Some companies have lean today absolutely in their DNA. I worked for one for 30 years, and without question, you know, it has been on the agenda there. They question everything that they do all the time in terms of, do we actually need to do this? Is it adding value to the customer? Can we avoid doing that? And on the other hand, some people probably will never have heard of lean. It will just have been they do business because that's the way they've always done business. And so, but even the most developed companies, you know, good is not good enough. You can always get better. And so I very much hope that whoever listens to these presentations, working for whichever companies or whichever companies they have or they're involved with, will be able to pick up some snippets. And at the end of the day, you don't need to pick up too much from presentations. You don't need to radically change very often the way you do things. If you can pick up 1, 2, 3 good ideas from having attended an event, then it becomes justifiable in terms of your time investment that you've made.
Well, and we're all on a journey as well, Paul, and it's recognizing that, you know, you're seeking inspiration from other people, and that's, you know, we're all part of a community of practice as well. And my view is having a strong program like this can really help encourage the people taking part. Yes,
absolutely. And I mean, the great thing about this format as well, probably that we didn't mention earlier on, is once they've captured this will be available. So yes, if you go to a physical conference, if you're not there on the day, you miss it. Whereas in this format, it will be there for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. No, it has a shelf life.
That's a great asset.
Absolutely. Well, look, Paul, thank you very much for your time and just giving us a bit of a run around what's happening with the conference. Just to remind people who are viewing this that there will be a live Q&A with all the panelists on the 4th of November. And if you look on the IAgrE website, you'll be updated about time and so on and so forth. And in the meantime, all of the speakers' presentations will in due course, as they are recorded, will pop onto the IAgrE website, and you can take part at your leisure or when it suits you and listen to each of the speakers between now and then. Well, look, Paul, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate your input, and thank you for the insights as well. Thank you, Paul.
Pleasure. And I hope everybody, or, you know, as many of you as are able, will log on, will watch these presentations, and as I said earlier, hopefully glean something from them and take them back to make the change within your businesses.